I won the 2025 World Amateur Strongman competition at the Arnold just a couple weeks ago. I'm feeling ecstatic. I'm very happy with all the hard work that I was able to put in and that I was able to accomplish. Now, the last two videos you saw, I did 2 weeks leading into this competition. This video, we're going to go over the last heavy week of training, and then we're going to go over the competition itself and talk a little bit about what I learned and kind of what I took away from the whole experience. One thing I want to say before I get into this is that I'm just really, really grateful that I'm able to do this. I feel very blessed. You know, everyone has their own gifts and everyone has their own challenges in life. So when we go and we look at people who are competing in a sport and things like that, we need to look at it and we need to find inspiration from, right? But if you're noticing that you're feeling envious or jealous or something like that, then you should probably click off. You should probably focus a little bit more on instead on what you're doing and go find people that you find inspirational, all right, instead of being jealous about what they're doing. And I'm not saying this as if I was presuming that you were jealous of me. That's not what I'm saying, of course. But I'm just saying that in my experience as an athlete, in my experience as a coach with other people, sometimes they can get discouraged by looking at other people's success. And if you're noticing that, then you need to find inspiration elsewhere. Instead, I hope you can take away from this some inspiration for yourself and you overcoming your own, I don't want to say challenges because that kind of has like maybe a slight negative connotation. I want to say more like opportunities. You find and succeed at your own opportunities in life, right? And that's kind of what we do as athletes. When we go compete, of course, when we're getting ready for the competition and when we're competing against someone else, you know, we're attacking. We have to attack with 100% intensity, and we need to take, you know, especially if it's a combat sport, you need to be at 100% violence, of course, within the rules when you're doing that. But no matter the sport, at the end of the day, it comes down to you, and it comes down to the real challenge is the challenge against yourself. Your positive versus the negative self or something like that. That which you know you can accomplish versus that which you might feel lazy and you succumb to. So that's just to keep in mind. I really want to, when I put these videos out, my goal is to document this for myself and possibly for my children or people later in my life to look upon. But it's also to hopefully inspire you to go do something you really love, all right? Instead of being like, look at me kind of thing. Of course, everyone needs a little bit of that. I need marketing. I need to make my money. I need to make sure I can attract people to my coaching services. And if you're interested, please check out tankstrengthcoaching.com. But I just want to say this is all to help inspire you and to feel, to help you along your journey in accomplishing whatever it is to accomplish, all right? So let's get into the first part of the video, which is the last heavy week going into the Arnold, and then we'll get to the competition itself. I've squatted over 750 pounds. I've benched over 500 pounds numerous times, and I've deadlifted over 750 pounds. All right, so as you guys saw in the first part of this series, we can call for week 1 Arnold, I squatted like, I think it was 2 sets of 3 at 635. So my legs, even after being sick, felt really strong. I was really happy with that. But the squat is not part of our competition, so we don't need to be squatting heavy going into the Arnold. We need to be doing our competition lifts heavy going into our competition, going into the Arnold. So we actually kind of brought the squat down to only 585. It's still heavy, but it's not, we don't need it to be the focus, right? And as you can see here, I hit 585 for 3 reps. Felt pretty good. I remember this, I think I did this for 3 sets. The first 2 sets kind of felt a little meh. And then that third set though, I felt kind of amped up and ready to go because I got a little bit more attention on me. There were other people lifting in the gym at the same time. People were like, let's go tank. And that just shows the importance of the atmosphere of which you're lifting in. You know, some people like to be a little bit more secluded when they're lifting, maybe lifting at home gyms and things like that. Nothing wrong with that, but you have to figure out what works best for you. That's your job as an athlete. Don't let anyone say this is the best option versus this is the best option or whatever. If you feel like you lift the strongest at a commercial gym, go lift at a commercial gym. For most people, though, that's not going to be the case, and that's why you seek out these powerlifting or strongman or these competitive lifting gyms more specifically, so you're around like-minded people and they can help push you to what you want to be, right? And that should also, expanding a little bit of what we talked about earlier, that should also be kind of the information and things that you consume online. You should probably dose your use of social media appropriately, and you should find people that you find inspiring and educational. That's what you should be consuming, right? So same thing goes with the gym environment you're in. If the gym environment you're in, you feel inspired to go there and you're excited to go there, boom, awesome, amazing as an athlete. If you go to another gym and you don't feel that way, or you don't like going there, that's not going to lead to better workouts. That's not going to lead to your success later on. So it's very important, the atmosphere you do and all that. Of course, you might not have access, and at the end of the day, you just need to get the work done. So if you have the opportunity to do it, go to good gyms. If you don't, listen, man, you're a tough dude. You just do it regardless, and you get your goals. All right. After that, the next day, we're going to move on to my log. This was a 337 log. At this point, this was the heaviest log I've done in prep. Coming back from that sickness, I was constantly failing my logs. I was pushing it too much. My upper body strength was not there. I was rushing, and thank God I didn't get hurt. But that is something I need to watch out for in the future. Take what's there on that day. Don't push anymore. Just take what's there on that day. You're not going to feel the strongest ever every single training session that you do, and that's okay. But I was very happy I was able to get up to a 337 log. Pretty good thing. And then here is the 272 for 5. The biggest thing, as you can see here from this angle, that I was working on with my log is pushing up and leaning back at the same time. That rep wasn't the best, but as I got, practiced the log more and more and more, when I pushed, I was thinking about, I was squeezing my glutes so I protected my lower back. But when I pushed, I was thinking about pushing myself back, and I was able to turn it more into almost like a bench press than a true shoulder press for that log. And I was able to use my strengths, right? Then we got Kabuki bar 850 for 2. So the competition we're lifting 850, and I was able to hit it for a double. I was pretty happy with this as well because I did heavy squats earlier in the week, and those felt good. Then for the competition we had originally, and we'll get to that later, a yoke, 60 feet down, 60 feet back with 850 pounds. The yoke was really difficult in training for me. The weight-wise was just way too heavy. I was able to successfully do 800 for 60 feet down, 60 feet back, as we can see here. But one of the, we'll talk about what happens at the Arnold later. One of the issues I was experiencing with the log is my left knee was acting up a little bit. I don't know what I did to it, but when I was in prep for trying to go for that world record, I squatted once, and I think I positioned my feet in a position it did not like to be, and I think I did something, I'm assuming, to the meniscus, and that will act up once in a while, and the yoke really bothered it. My knee would get swollen afterwards. So it's not like a pain feeling, it feels like an instability. And maybe I'll get a little bit of pain, but it's like a 1 or 2 for like half a second. But I don't want to irritate it, obviously. Anyways, actually, overall, I was very happy I was able to accomplish this just because log really wasn't going well. Then we move on to some sandbag training. This is a 325 Hutzefeld. That guy, again, in training, was not able to get it over the bar once. Now, the bar I was lifting to is higher than I would in competition, so I wasn't too upset about that. That's my friend Joe. He's helping me out there. This is where he trains. And then this is a 375-pound sandbag, which that's the last heavy sandbag we were supposed to lift at the Arnold. Then we move on to some close grip bench press, 355 with 60 pounds of chains. Now in strongman, you're rarely, if ever, doing a horizontal pressing. I think they had it at the Shaw Classic maybe a year or two ago. But the close grip bench press does allow you to use the most amount of muscle mass. Yes, you're getting your chest, but you're also getting your shoulders and your triceps. The close grip puts a little bit more emphasis on the triceps, and the chains puts a little more emphasis on the lockout portion of that lift, which is going to be very, very important for like the lockout of my log press. And I would also say someone like myself who leans back a lot during the log, a bench press is going to be more beneficial for, because I'm turning my overhead press into more of like a lay back press, right? Versus someone who might not lay back as much, maybe more upright work would be more of a focus, and their bench press less of a focus. Anyways, super, super happy with that. Feeling really good, solid work. Your upper body, as I've said before, takes a little bit of time to adjust towards weight cutting. Funny enough, I have a athlete of mine preparing for collegiate nationals for the USAPL, and he's weight cutting down. We did hit a nice bench PR in preparation, but I told him regardless we should go a little bit lighter, or plan for a little bit lighter in competition, because rarely are you going to do a weight cut, especially something like this is a 2-hour weigh-in, and be able to feel like your upper body strength is 100%. After that, we did a keg load with 450 pounds. Super happy with how that moved. Tough, don't get me wrong, but at least I was able to get it. This is as heavy as I went in training. I did not go any heavier than this. I only lifted this keg twice. I was able to get in better position that didn't wreck my biceps too much. And lastly, for this is the last heavy week, full week, we did a seated log press. Listen, if you're trying to get good at something, you need to do that thing more often. Now, a full log clean and press can be a bit taxing, especially with everything else we're doing, but we want to be playing around with this implement as much as possible. The nice thing about a seated log is that I'm not able to push myself back. I still get a good arch there, as you can see, but I'm not able to push myself back more. And instead, all that force I'm putting, it needs to be going to log. So it's a very nice strength-specific movement instead of like hacking the technique too much. Overall, again, very, very, very happy with how that log moved with the seated. Now that was the last bit of the heavy week for everything. I did the last heavy squats, the last heavy deadlift, that last heavy yoke run, last heavy sandbags, and all of that for that week. But oftentimes your upper body can recover a little bit quicker. So this portion was the week leading into my competition. I still hit a heavy log. This actually probably was like the week before. So at this point, I think I had like maybe a week and a half before my competition. And that's where I did my last heavy log for preparation. I was feeling really good. I went in today, I felt like really good. So I hit a strict log PR with 300 pounds. And as you can see here, that's where I really implement that laid back technique where I'm pushing my body down as I push overhead. So I did one strict and then I did one push press, super happy with it. And then I actually hit a all-time PR, but we'll get into it a little bit later with the actual competition itself because I hit something a little heavier. All right. All right, after an 8-hour drive to Columbus, Ohio, we got there Thursday. Then Friday, we walked around the convention center. I got to meet a few people in the fitness industry that I've been watching for a long time, and then it's kind of cool to see them in person. One thing I want to tell you guys is that everyone you watch on YouTube is not as big as they are in real life, unless it's the professional strongman. The professional strongman are so much bigger than you expect when you meet them in real life. It's pretty funny to see. But Friday, walked around the convention center, hung out with my friend. We watched the pro strongman show, and then we went to the rules briefing for the amateur strongman show that we were doing. My friend, he's in the open class. I'm in the 120 class, all right? My class had about, I think, 13 or 15 people, and then in the finals we only had about 6 people. Relaxed. We were good. My only issue with that weekend that I don't know if I could have done anything different, but what I was battling against was when I get very excited, when I'm ready to go and compete, I'm ready to, compete for a freaking world championship. My stomach, my nerves like just shut down. So I was barely able to eat anything pretty much the whole weekend. I would get like a meal here or there, but most of the time I felt like if I was going to eat something, I felt like I was going to throw up. So my ability to consume mass calories, which is very beneficial for strongman, was greatly diminished. Regardless, we pushed on. And for day 1, we opened up with a 318 max log attempt. As you can tell, that 318 moved pretty easy. Originally, the goal was to kind of open lighter around 300, or it would be 298. That was the original plan, but I was feeling so good in warm-ups. Everything was clicking. Probably as far as competition-wise, I know I didn't eat a ton, but as far as competition-wise, it's probably the most confident I've ever been. Everything was moved very smoothly. I felt really, really good. So I opened up with that 318, then we moved on to 338. And as you guys remember, I failed that 335 multiple times over the past couple months. So I was really, really happy with how it's going to move, as you'll see here shortly.
Make sure that you get ready. Lean forward, hands into the chest.
To win my class, I took a third attempt at 358. Now this will be 3 pounds over the heaviest I've ever done. I've only ever touched 355 once before, as you guys saw earlier in the video. But again, I was feeling very, very confident, and my ability to kind of drive up with the legs for the initial push press and then squeeze my glutes and push my body away to get that log under me, I was feeling solid. One thing you'll see though, I did get the down command before I stumbled away, so it did count. But if I didn't get that down command, I probably could have held that, if I didn't get the down command right then and there, I probably would have missed it.
Let's go, you got this! Up, 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 up! Yeah!
All right, now we move on to the second event, trap bar deadlifts. The goal coming into this was just to hit what I needed to hit. Was 850. I knew I was going to get a lot of reps. I'm a pretty strong deadlifter compared to everybody else in my class. Now I told my handler slash coach, which is my girlfriend who was handling me at this meet, I said, hey, make sure that you're counting the other people's reps right next to me to make sure I don't have to do any more than I did. So you're going to see in the video, I kind of stopped and I was looking at her like, all right, how many more reps did I get? She unfortunately did not count my competitor's repetitions, so I was kind of lost in the dark there. She did great for the rest of the weekend, so not to harp on it. But I knew I probably could have gotten maybe 1 or 2 more reps if I needed it, but I would have gassed myself out. And I didn't want to necessarily completely blow my load on the deadlift when we still had yoke and sandbag left, right? If I needed to, I would have done it to win the event. But if I totally gassed myself out and my low back and my glutes and my hamstrings were completely shot, I might have done worse on the next 2 events than I could have done, and the placement would have been weird. So I hit, I believe it was 7 reps. I was confident there. If I needed another pull, I would have pulled. But regardless, I knew I was going to be placed towards the top after this event.
Athletes ready, judges ready. These guys are ready. They're in attack mode.
All right, after my event win with the 850 trap bar deadlift, I was feeling really, really good. I got 2 event wins before, but now these moving events on the yoke and the sandbag, I knew I was gonna have a bit of an issue with, and here's why. One, the guy who beat me at nationals, who's like in 2nd place at this point, he's really, really good with moving events. Really good at yoke, really good at sandbags. I do believe he came away with 1st at the sandbags, and then for the yoke, I'm not too sure where he was. For me personally on the yoke though, I only ever went up to 800 in training. Now, during preparation, during our prep, the original event was 60 feet down, 60 feet back. But in Strongman, things change all the time based on, you know, how much time everybody else got and things like that. They were trying to rush things through. So we changed it, they changed it from 60 feet down, 60 feet back to 30 feet down, 30 feet back. And they were rushing us. They're like, rush, rush, rush. As soon as you go out there, we're gonna get going. And that is where I made a mistake as an athlete, and I learned, it was a valuable learning opportunity for me, which is to go at my pace, to kind of calm down, focus, and go at the pace. I felt rushed, and you're gonna see I dropped it like 2-3 times because I rushed the start. I was trying to sprint it when in actuality I should have moved the start pretty slow, got into the rhythm, and went. But that's my issue with the yoke. Very happy I completed it, but I did not do nearly as well as I should have if I just was a little bit more present in the competition, present within the event. All right, last event to finish up day 1, we did sandbags over a bar. Now, as you guys saw in my training, this also didn't go extremely well. I was using I was using about the same weight on the sandbags, but I was using a higher implement. So during training, I didn't get a single Hutzefeld sandbag over the bar. And you can see here, it kind of impacted me a little bit, but I was able to stick through and get it over. And I did complete the event. I think I got 2nd or 3rd here. So I did pretty well. I was able to get all the bags over. The other guy who ended up being like around that 2nd and 3rd mark, he didn't even finish the event. So first place on the event was the guy at nationals who beat me, and then I think I'm around 2nd or 3rd, and then the guy who's in 3rd place at the end of the day, he didn't even finish the event. So I'm feeling pretty good based on the sandbags, and you're gonna see here I moved it decently fast.
Go!
Let's go! Easy, easy, easy!
45 seconds to go.
You got it, go! 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 One more! 20 seconds! 20 seconds! You got it! Up! 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 Yeah!
All right, day 2. Feeling pretty good. I'm bothering my foot, this foot there, like the first metatarsal for some reason. After the sandbags, it started limping a little bit. Not a big deal for today because it's a pretty like the events we're doing is very static. We're not moving a ton. So originally it was going to be a hoist lift. We're going to sit, hoist up a weight, let it come down. They changed it last minute to a clean and press away, however many reps we can get. Which I think I was prepared for the hoist lift, but I don't think I'll do bad on this either, just because I did very well with the log lift. After that, then we have max keg load. Again, I think I'm pretty confident with that as well. Haven't gone up to any crazy weights with the keg load, but I did hit 450 pretty confidently. I think 500, a little food and excitement with me is definitely there. So, you know, I'm half a point behind right now first. If I just lock in, do what I know I can do, I think we're going to have a very favorable outcome today. All right? Let's get to it.
One!
Dips and drives and presses it to lockout. 2,
295 pounds, 134 kilograms. And we're seeing a theme here. Second rep looked even smoother than the first.
3.
Unbelievable display of power here at the Arnold Sports Festival, the Strongman Corporation World Championships. He's got 25 seconds to continue working here.
2 more. 2 more.
He
2
knows
more.
every rep counts. 10 seconds to go. Can he get another one in the books here?
Push up. Right. 1 more.
Tremendous
1 more.
effort.
All right, you guys already saw the first event for day 2. Now, going into day 2, I was in second place. I think I was behind first by like a point. But they changed the point system when we actually got on day 2. So they took all the people who did not make the finals, they took them out of the equation, changing the point system between everyone who made the finals, and I was in the lead by like half a point. So going into day 2, I was in first by half a point. That doesn't make a huge difference because a simple, if I got second, I would be behind by 1.5 or something like that. But overall, I was feeling pretty solid going into this first event. I needed to get 7 reps. I did not expect the fatigue from that log press the day beforehand to really hit me hard. That was one aspect of it. The second aspect of it is I hadn't been training the axle bar clean and press pretty much at all during this whole prep because, like I said, we were supposed to do a hoist lift, which I think I probably would have done much better on because I have a pretty strong back and I was actually training that lift. So I took away from with 4 reps. You can hear my dad yell, 7 reps at first, that's what I needed to win. And then it was 5 reps because if I hit that 5 reps, I would have tied with second and third. But I was very lucky. I kept calm, I kept focused, I hit that 4th rep that helped me tie, I believe, second to last place. But that kept me with enough points going into the last event of the day. I believe I was like I was either up by half a point or behind by half a point. Basically meaning I needed to win this last event in order to win the competition. So the nerves and the excitement was high, the pressure was on, but I had to focus and I had to beat the guy who took first at Nationals. That guy, Elijah Yoder, wonderful competitor, great dude, very nice guy, but I had to beat him. And he was telling me in the training he got up to 520 pounds on that keg. And as you guys saw, I only got up to 450. So it was quite a battle, and watch what happens.
Our men's 120 kilogram finalists. Please welcome Ty McFarland, Sean Dean, Francis Marchesol, Christopher Harrison, Elijah Yoder, and Brendan Todd.
Let's go, Tank!
We will have the opening kicks. This bear hug and clasp your hands.
Let's go, Tom! Easy! Lightweight, Tom!
Octagonal Challenge of the Strongman Corporation World Championships and Pro-Am.
This is it.
And now we have
He wins. He gets
Jessica
this, he wins.
Mitchell at 300 pounds.
Let's go, Tom!
Final attempt for
You
the men's
got it!
500. Both athletes in the lap position. 2 different techniques.
Up! 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 Yeah! You did it, man! You did it!
I freaking won, and I was super stoked. Let me go into the last event here a little bit more. So there was no kegs to warm up with in the back. I think I was able to touch like the 300. I kind of picked that up. I picked up a couple heavy sandbags. I also didn't have a block of chalk, and I didn't have spray tacky, so I was asking my friends and some of the other competitors there. I could tell some of them didn't want to help me out, which is respectable. I mean, we are in a competition, even though I wasn't really necessarily competing with the people I was asking. But basically, I took a spray tacky, sprayed my chest, able to kind of stick my shirt down, and I took a block of chalk, put it all over my hands, forearms, up into my elbow sleeves to kind of protect my bicep. When you're holding that keg kind of pulls and goes straight into your bicep. I've gotten some pretty bad bruises from doing that, so you got to wear the elbow sleeves. That 450 moved pretty well. Again, I went from basically 300 pounds. I went pretty cold into that 450, got it up nice and confident, put it over the bar. My strategy going into this last event was just to do whatever that the second place, a Yoder, was doing. I was in first, so I had the luxury of knowing what he was going to attempt before I did that. So he said 450, I was like 450. He's from the South, so he had that thick Southern accent. He's like, come on, man. I was like, dude, I'm going to take advantage of my first place right here. But he hit that 450 pretty easy. I hit that 450. It felt, kind of felt heavy. And then I thought he said we were going to both do 475. So I was like, great. I was like, I'm pretty confident in my 475. And then we're coming around for the 475 keg. The guy is coming around asking, all right, get ready to do that. And he said, okay, Yoder, you get ready. He's like, no. We said we're going to do 500. I was like, crap. I was like, oh yeah, we'll do 500. I was like, you know what? Again, like I said, I needed to beat him in order to beat this event. So if he hit 500 and I hit the 475, and then I attempted 500 for my second attempt, my third attempt, and he hit 500 and did something heavier, he would have beaten me out. So I just matched what he did. He went out there, he almost got the 500. It was like basically an inch away. I think his setup was a little funky. Then I went out there, I took my time, deadlifted into my lap, sat down, got a nice tight hold, brought it up, pushed up on there, and I just kind of pushed over, and it was boom. I won the event. I mean, I was ecstatic. Now you're gonna hear my father and my girlfriend scream, "Let's go, Tom." Tom is my middle name. That's what my family calls me. So if you hear people scream Tom, that's why. Anyways, super dope. I'm gonna play a clip here about getting my first place trophy. It's funny, at Nationals, the trophy was like this big metal thing. It was like pretty sick. This one was a very cheap trophy, but I was able to win a little bit of cash at this event, so I was very, very happy. Hope you guys enjoyed the videos. Like I said, I'm going to keep trying to push these out, even if it is only a few, every few weeks. If you guys are interested in any type of strength and performance training, please reach out to tankstrengthcoaching.com. You'll be working with a world champion.